20 News. My name is Richard Aguirre.
And I'm Tammy King, and we're coming to you live from our studio in downtown Tucson. It is February 15th. First in local headlines.
Local headlines. The Tucson Unified School District will not move forward on a plan to withdraw the boundaries for 4 high schools in the city. On Tuesday, the TUSD School Board voted 4-1 in favor of the TUSD High School Revitalization Initiative, but declined the part of the plan that involved in changing the boundaries for Tucson High, Catalina High, and Rincon High, and Palo Verde High. If the plan were approved, students in the eastern and northern part of the district could be sent to Catalina, while students in the southern or eastern part of the Rincon boundary could attend Palo Verde. However, Representative Todd Clodfelter introduced a separate bill that would let the Vail School District take over Santa Rita High. On Tuesday, the House of Education Committee approved Clodfelter's bill, but it still needed to go through a vote in the entire House. Under the bill HB 2524, a district could take over a school in another district if it qualified under certain conditions. These include whether the school's enrollment is below 25% capacity. The district redraws the boundaries of a district's governing board, took over the ownership of the school's facilities. The TUSD High School Revitalization Initiative seeks to upgrade Tucson K-12 schools, which are in desperate need of repairs. However, funds are limited, so the city hopes to restore the new schools so they're at least a few pegs above a third world labor camp.
I hear ya on that.
What grade are you in now?
I work at a school.
I'm in 5th grade.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Arizona Governor Doug Ducey is seeking more money to prevent wildfires in the state. Ducey said that he wants to increase the budget for the Arizona Department of Forestry from $1.3 million to $2 million per year. He says the extra funding would go toward prevention projects around the state, including clearing out dry brush and removing dangerous fuels. Crews would also be able to perform controlled burns, which will help reduce out-of-control forest fires. If Ducey's plan is approved, the Forestry Department would be able to use the money starting in October. The agency has said they'll use the first chunk of money to buy some really cool hats.
A federal appeals court decided to reopen a case involving Aguirre protesters who say the Border Patrol violated their First Amendment rights. While the protesters monitored a border checkpoint for racial profiling, the group People Helping People launched the lawsuit in 2014 after Border Patrol established a 391-foot enforcement zone around the checkpoint and threatened protesters with arrest if they left the zone. In an original case, a federal magistrate sided with the Border Patrol, ruling that the enforcement zone was a non-public forum. But on Tuesday, a Ninth Circuit Appeals Court reversed the ruling. They claim in their ruling that the protesters should get a chance to investigate the enforcement zone and have their day in court. People Helping People was established after complaints of racial profiling, unlawful searches, and excessive force by the Border Patrol at that Aguirre checkpoint. The group began monitoring the checkpoint in 2014. After they showed up, Border Patrol agents set up a yellow tape to keep them out of the area. Agents then replaced the tape with rope and signs forbidding unauthorized entry. The group claims that even though they were kept out of the zone, people friendly to the Border Patrol were let in. When they asked an agent about this, they were reportedly told that this is a free country. First Amendment lawyers Eugene Volokh said that the government agencies can restrict free speech on certain government properties, but he doesn't believe that border checkpoints fall under these conditions. The Border Patrol hopes to establish a checkpoint as a protected national monument so they can legally restrict free speech, just like Uncle Sam wants them to do. You know, the thing about tape and rope is that you could just go right over it.
Yeah, it doesn't really prevent anything.
It doesn't do anything.
No.
They need laser force fields. Laser force fields?
All right, good idea.
They work every time.
Yeah.
Because they melt your skin.
You wouldn't go through that? No. No.
I'm not getting my skin melted twice.
The undocumented father of 5-year-old suffering from cancer was granted a stay yesterday after he sought sanctuary at Shadow Rock United Church of Christ in Phoenix. 30-year-old Jesus Barones was told by ICE last week that he was to be deported after officials refused a stay of his deportation order. Barones came to the country when he was 2, but was deported once when he was 19 for driving without a license. He was allowed to stay in the country due to his son's illness in 2016. When Barones attempted to register for another stay last year, he was told not to bother because it wasn't a priority for deportation. However, last month, he was alerted by ICE that he was to be deported this month. Yesterday, ICE announced the stay, calling it an exercise of discretion. This basically means that ICE wasn't getting bad press from the situation, or they were getting bad press from the situation. ICE says that it hopes it can avoid situations like these in the future by hiding from the media. As a result, they plan to change their uniforms to look more like UPS delivery men. I got nothing.
A Tempe bar said that it will not allow University of Arizona Wildcats colors during the U of A ASU basketball game held tonight. In a tweet, the College Bar and Grill said, "This is Tempe, not Tucson. Don't bring that mess into our place. We reserve the right to ask you to leave for the benefit of a safe, positive experience for our patrons." A Twitter account called Players Program U hatched a plan for Wildcat fans, saying that Wildcat fans in Tempe need to make it a point to stop at the College Bar. The goal is to get kicked out of the bar and the goal is to get into the bar and get kicked out after busting out your U of A gear. Keep it classy, Tucson. In response, the College Bar and Grill said that those wearing neutral colors would be required by all patrons to sing the ASU fight song, which would be shared on social media. They said that anyone found wearing the red and blue University of Arizona colors or cheering for the team would be told to leave. So it'll be a bad night for all those America fans out there because America is red, white, and blue, just like U of A. That sounds like restaurant fascism to me.
Wildcats. Pennsylvania is set to redraw voting maps in the state after Democratic Governor Tom Wolf vetoed a previous plan drawn by state Republicans because he claimed it benefited their party. In a 5-2 party line vote, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled that the map was invalid because it marginalized Democratic voters in order to deliver more seats for Democrats. The new map was ordered earlier this year after a lawsuit claiming that the state's Republicans gerrymandered the electoral maps. Gerrymandering occurs when maps are drawn so that certain districts will be more likely to benefit one party. This is done by grouping together voters of the same party in one district so the voting landscape is less spread out. The court gave the Republican-led leadership until today to submit a non-gerrymandered map, which the legislature refused to do. Starting Monday, the court will draw its own map with help from a redistricting expert. Republican state legislatures have threatened their own federal lawsuit challenging the court's decision. But last week, the U.S. Supreme Court rejected Republicans' appeal of the state court's ruling. The redistricting stands a chance of benefiting Democrats in a potential battleground state where Republicans now hold 13 of 18 congressional seats. Late Thursday, Republicans offered their new redistricting plan, but they were instantly rejected because the state's two largest districts that were drawn were shaped like a penis and a middle finger.
You know, if they wanted something more permanent, they should have drawn the maps in Sharpie-Vania, not Pennsylvania, Tammy.
Probably, yeah, it's more permanent.
It's just science.
But with the penis size, it could always change and grow.
Depending on the temperature.
Yes.
An independent review panel ruled that a $133 million rebuilding contract in Puerto Rico should be canceled after the company misled officials to secure the deal. The panel found that Adjusters International failed to meet several requirements in its bid to handle 75,000 home rehabilitations on the island. This included having proper certification, according to the Bloomberg. This is the second contested deal involving the rebuilding of Puerto Rico. which was ravaged by Hurricane Maria last year. The first involved Whitefish Energy, who only had 2 employees when they were giving a $300 million contract to restore the island's electrical grid. The deal was criticized after it was revealed that Whitefish came from the same town as EPA Chief Scott Pruitt, who was an instrumental part of making the deal happen. The Puerto Rican government ended up canceling the deal following the public outcry. The Trump administration said they've named a new and much greater leader to restore the island's electricity, Julio, the handyman from down the hall, because Trump says he can, quote, fix anything greatly. I don't know, Tammy. It smells fishy. I don't know what's going on there.
Pretty stinky.
Sounds like corruption.
Yep. House Democrats introduced a bill that would provide grants of $1 billion to help states replace outdated voting technology. The grant would also be used to train employees in cybersecurity and conduct audits of elections to ensure their accuracy. Democrats introduced a bill a week after intelligence agencies said that Russians were looking to influence the 2018 election. A study released last week by the Department of Homeland Security revealed that state-sponsored Russian hacking groups were able to hack into a small group of states' election systems. It also said that the Russians attempted to hack at least 21 states' systems. However, the report warned that the hackers did not alter the election results, but seemed to rather hack with the purpose of casing out the voting technology. Casing out the voting technology. This led security experts to think that Russia is planning a bigger hacking operation in the next election. The new legislation, called the Election Security Act, would allocate $1.7 billion over the next decade to improve state election systems. This would include replacing outdated paperless voting systems with new machines that provide a voter-verified paper backup. Audits would be able to be undertaken if the result is called into question. In addition to new funding, Homeland Security would be required to expand aid to state election officials by speeding up security clearances of the officials and starting risk assessments within 90 days of the request. The legislation also requires the Director of National Intelligence to conduct a full scope assessment of threats to the U.S. election systems at least 6 months before the upcoming election. If the bill passes, the Trump administration plans to install Sergei Black Hat Petkov as a new Director of Intelligence. You know him, right?
I don't know him, but it's precisely that type of stuff is the reason why I don't vote.
Because you don't know who's setting it up?
Yeah, and also because I'm not registered to vote.
That's a good reason.
Because I don't know how to register to vote. Kansas officials ruled that a dog owner who filed to run for governor will be disqualified for office. The ruling came even though there are no state statutes covering qualifications to be a candidate in Kansas. Taryn Woolley of Hutchinson, Kansas, entered his 3-year-old wire terrier, Angus, in the race after he heard a news report stating that the state does not have requirements for who can run for office. However, Brian Caskey, Director of Elections for the Kansas Secretary of State's office, announced that a dog will not be allowed to file and put its name on the ballot. 6 teenagers also filed for the gubernatorial race after hearing the report. Lawmakers in the state are currently considering a bill that would add requirements for candidates for governor. One plan would require applicants to be at least 18 years age and human. Crazy. Which would disqualify current Governor Sam Brownback, who was revealed to be a poorly made cyborg. You know, there's a lot of cyborgs in the government.
There is. South African President Jacob Zuma stepped down yesterday after receiving pressure from his own party. Zuma had been in power since 2009 and faced multiple accusations of corruption. In the previous week, Zuma's ANC party had been urging him to step down or face a vote of no confidence in Parliament. South Africa's Parliament later went through with the no confidence vote. At first, Zuma said he was being victimized and refused to step down. However, in a televised statement, Zuma announced that he would step down effective immediately. Earlier Wednesday, Police raided the home of a powerful Gupta family who have been accused of corruption and had close ties with Zuma. The ANC member Cyril Ramaphosa, who was already favored to win the presidency in 2019, will take over Zuma's place. Ramaphosa has long been known for his criticism of corruption throughout South African government, blaming the problem for the country's slow progress. So President Trump will surely hate his guts. So stay off of Twitter, Cyril. I stay off of Twitter too.
Instagram?
I like Instagram.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, over 100 White House staffers were working with temporary security clearances up until November of 2017. Advisors such as Trump's daughter Ivanka and son-in-law Jared Kushner were just two examples of officials without permanent clearances. At least 24 of the staffers have been working in the White House since Trump's first day. One of the 24 included the senior director in international security on the national security. That's a lot of security for somebody with no security. Politico reported that the White House banned temporary security clearances late last year, but allowed those already in the White House to remain in their positions. The move towards banning the clearances began when it was revealed that Secretary Rob Porter had a temporary clearance. Porter had been accused of domestic violence after his ex-wife released pictures of her with a bruised face. Two other White House officials have resigned in recent weeks after being denied full security clearances. In short, another typical week for Trump in the White House. So now we know about that, but like, what can we do locally is my question.
I don't know.
Oh, insightful.
Yeah, I am very insightful. This is 5 on 20 News. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube account. And don't forget to like us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for all the latest Creative Tucson news and content. You can also feel free to get in touch with us at info@creativetucson.org. Thanks for watching. Stay creative, Tucson.
Wait, what was that website?
Oh,
What was the email?
it was,
Was it info@creativetucson.org?
yes,
Oh, I'm gonna write it down now.
yes, info@creativetucson.org.